Listen, it's lovely to have you on. I wanted your thoughts on what we just mentioned there. So really the discussion this morning has been about the performance that we saw on Friday night for England and the disappointment that a lot of England fans felt. First of all, do you think that's warranted, Theo?
Well, I always feel like going into tournament football, there always seems to be, obviously the nation puts a lot of pressure on the England team, and I don't want to have that history of we've had in the past of putting so much pressure on. But the fact is we've done really well now, that more than we ever have done for a very long time. And unlike everyone right now, I feel like this generation of fans likes to see excitement. And my worry is I don't feel like that we've actually sort of put it in practice in games using I'm a big fan of a 4 at the back, 4-3-3. I'm pretty old school to some extent. And some players which, I'm again, big fans of, like the likes of James Maddison. Andros would obviously probably back me up on this, but he's a sort of player I feel that's been really unlucky not to get any call-ups. Really am. And it's just the attacking threat. You just want to see excitement. But I understand in tournament football as well, you need to be very solid at the back. But again, I feel like this way, Gareth can't win to some extent going into this tournament. So that's a worry. But like I say, I feel like we just need to just relax a little bit, not really look too much into it, because obviously we go into the last couple of tournaments, we've done fantastically well. Obviously this time we're not got the sort of the way we're playing to back it up. But I think just give them time.
Theo, can I ask you a question? Looking at it, we all understand. I mean, everybody on the planet thinks they can do Gareth's job better than he's doing it himself. However, the one area where I think he maybe has left himself open a little bit would be, God forbid, what would happen if Harry Kane did get an injury? Because effectively, as I said, we do know what Harry can do, but we're not sure about Ivan Toney. We're not really sure about Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, to be honest as well, Harry's the sort of player that you can't ever really leave out. But again, in this sort of Nations League, you need to try other options, because like you say, you could get an injury. Sometimes it's obviously a very good option to have something different. And if you're not going to be training that, obviously they'll be doing it on the training fields and stuff like that, but games are so different. And, I'm a big fan of Toney. I've said previously that he's a winger's dream to play with, like Harry is, of course, but he's very different. He shows a threat in behind as well as he can just influence the game from nothing. He can hold it up really well. And I feel like it's like, for instance, me and Aaron Lennon, for instance, going to the World Cup back in 2006. No one really knew about him, and we just threw him on, and he just excited everyone. I was obviously disappointed I didn't get a chance to play, because again, it's the same sort of you're unknown, and I feel like Toney will be the same going into this tournament. He'll be unknown for defenders because they won't be able to deal with him. But you got to give him that chance.
Theo, Gareth's taken a lot of stick over his selection and his negativity, etc. But looking at that team the other night, you got Foden, you got Kane, you got Sterling, you got Saka, you got Bellingham. Do you not think that that's enough to create a lot more than we did the other night?
Yes, I do.
That's Theo's brain working there.
Yeah. I think, watching that playing 3 at the back, and Saka is obviously playing wing back as well. He's not playing that role for Arsenal, so he's now, I like him as a right winger. I like him as that. But you're right, we have got all the talent in the world. We should be creating a lot more. Like I said, I don't think we scored many open goals, which is a worry, obviously, of course, especially against the bigger teams. It's going to be more and more difficult. And you want to breed confidence into the team. So obviously, when there's a lot of talk, on the outside, I'm sure it's completely different. Andros as well, get into dressing rooms at England camps, it'd be fine. They wouldn't be. Yeah. We won't be worried. They won't be listening to us right now. That's for sure. We all not really making sense. No, it's plenty of top quality players to sort of broke these defences now in these tournaments.
What would you change, Theo, tonight? What would you like to see? It might even be a player that you'd like to see.
Well, like I said, I'm a big fan of Tony. I'm quite disappointed that obviously James Ward-Prowse isn't getting a chance. Obviously being a teammate of his, and he didn't even feature in the first game. Now for not featuring this one as well. So again, that's the other side of it. A lot of people don't see where a player or players would go to, camp and train great, but not get a chance to play, and that's ultimately the goal. You want to play. So yeah, it's disappointing for him and like many players. But I'll be honest, I just want to see 4-3-3. All the attacking players, just for this one game. Look, we're already relegated. Let's just see against a big team what this attacking threat can do. And again, it's just, I feel like we need to try it. And then, we might lose 3-4, but we might end up winning.
That wouldn't go down losing 3 or 4.
Positive impact going into a game. But yeah, you're right. We won't do it
at Wembley against Germany. Theo, you've been involved in teams as well, I suppose, where the team is very under pressure, and they go to Wembley tonight, and it's against Germany. So even though it's a game that can't affect the fact we've already been relegated, it still comes with its own history and its own pressures, doesn't it? What's it like have you played in one of those teams in one of those games where the atmosphere at Wembley is a little bit more tense?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. My sort of, 47 cats were in, so my sort of generation of England, I've seen a lot of the players and played through a lot of them, and the times winning them have been great and have been great in patches. The era of Can Stephen and Frank play together. So I've been in that atmosphere, and again, it's but you want to try and do it for you and be excited and playing in these big games. Especially against Germany. I never really got to play against Germany. Sadly, I remember playing, in Germany, but I dislocated my shoulder the night before the game, so I missed out on that one. But yeah, this game breeds history. But we've had good history, obviously, in the Euros. Recently come off the back of that. I just feel like the fans, they just want to get excitement going into a tournament, and we're not quite seeing that yet. But like I say, it's very early days. It's very early days.
How different is that? And Andros, all three of you pretty much can answer this question. The difference between something like the Nations League or the warm-up games going into a major tournament. How much does the mind shift from one tournament to the next? So what I'm asking, I suppose, is do you think when the World Cup starts, we might see a different version of England to what we're seeing now, Theo?
Yeah, I think so, because I think you get that excitement with the fans, the different sorts of background and everything. It's going to be very different, of course. I just feel like the word relegation going into the tournament's not nice, is it? Anyway, it's a negative straight away. So I feel like we need to try and sort of forget about that. But yeah, I think it's, the travelling, when your partners and everything, you get in the hotel and you're training, and, the weather will be very different, and, all the different nations together, the amount of people that'll be there, the players will be up for it. Simple as that. They did it this last summer, so they know how to deal in these big tournaments, especially this generation. So, I'm still quietly confident we're going to do really well. To be honest, I really am.
I think Theo hit the nail on the head. I think the whole atmosphere will be different. That the fans will go from Southgate out to singing about Southgate turning them on again. So I think the whole atmosphere in the UK will be different once the World Cup starts again.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.